Good evening, folks. This is Geronami. Thank you very much for tuning to my channel this evening. And recently, this heart-tearing incident happened in India, the capital city, Delhi. And people are writing me emails, and I got like 2 emails today from totally strangers saying, Geronami, you don't talk about what happens in India. You talk about everything around the world. You talk about what happens in America, in China, and in Africa, and in Europe. But when it comes to India, you're always soft. You just evade your comments about India. Isn't it unfair to treat India differently because it is your home country? Now I agree with you. I mean, I love India, but you see, but I don't agree with you in one thing, that I am soft when it comes to the sins of India. So I want to give some of the comments today, because just in response to these people who are criticizing me and sending me emails saying that I am just having some bias. So guys, I don't have any bias. I don't have any prejudices. I'm equal opportunity when it comes to expressing my opinions about things that happen around the world. Today I want to talk about this ghastly, horrible incident that happened just a few weeks ago. And yes, actually just a few days ago. The girl actually died just a few days ago. So this is a very, very horrible incident, and if you don't know about it, it happened in Delhi. And the girl and her boyfriend checked into a bus, and the thugs who are inside the bus, they took that girl and they mauled her boyfriend, and they were begging to leave her, and they raped her one by one. All 5 men raped this young lady, and they did not leave her like that. They had beaten her, they had taken iron rods and stabbed her right into her abdomen and pelvis, and inflicting very serious injuries to her brain and her abdomen and her intestine. And they had thrown her, intending to kill her under the wheels of the bus, and the girl and her boyfriend were helplessly staying on the road in a pool of blood. And the strangers and the bypassers, the people who are driving in cars and buses, they did not even hesitate to stop and help these victims. Finally, police arrived, and they were fighting among themselves under whose jurisdiction this fall, as the girl was bleeding, and the girl was taken to the hospital. All her small intestine was removed, and she was in shock for a few days. And to the embarrassment of all Indians, the Indian government airlifted this girl to Singapore, to Mount Elizabeth Hospital, where she stayed in coma for a few more days and ultimately succumbed to death. Such a painful incident. And I was thinking about this. Where is our society going in a culture like this? I want to talk about this a few minutes. First of all, the helplessness of the victim. The helplessness of the victim. When you see a woman in India, I'm not talking about all these high-class, educated, MTV watching, Mumbai, cigarette smoking, alcohol sipping, high-class woman. I'm talking about average woman in Indian streets. That woman does not have much help when it comes, when she is abused. There is a systematic prejudice against women in India. That's a fact. I mean, right here, I mean, even before she was born, women are discriminated. The ultrasounds that are done all across India, that result in the deaths of millions upon millions of female feticides. I mean, that's just heartbreaking. And we have this pro-choice in America, that you don't have to be, you don't have to be pro-life. You can kill the baby if you through an abortion in America. But in India, these abortions are being carried out against the female childs. millions of them. That means like the male to female ratio in Indian society in the next 20 years is going to be highest in the world. That means like for like every 1,000 males there will be less than 900 females. So that's a serious social imbalance, and that have grave consequences for Indian society in the coming decades. And that's the helplessness. And the girls are being killed even before they are born. And I'm interested how the pro-choice people in America would advise the pro-choice people in India. In India, the pro-choice means getting rid of the female babies and keeping the male babies. And I am curious to know how the American pro-lifer, pro-choicer would respond to the Indian pro-choicer when it comes to abortions. And the girls are harassed even from their childhood. They are not even given enough equality to the boys in education, in marriage, in social standing. The girls are always inferior to men. And the dowry deaths, while I was working in hospital, I used to see these young ladies who are burnt in gasoline and kerosene, leaving them to death. And that is happening right now. And the sad story, when are we going to wake up? This is only one rape, and the rapes are being happened. Every 20 minutes a woman is raped in India, across India. So the helplessness of the victim. Think of that for a moment. Then the hardness of the perpetrators. Think of the hardness, how hard-hearted they were. A woman checked into their bus. They had harassed her with verbally. Then they raped her. They did not even stop after their sexual lust has satisfied. They took these iron rods and stabbed her, ultimately resulting to her. Then they threw her out of the bus. I mean, think about the hardness of these perpetrators. Just mind-boggling. And thirdly, I also want to talk about the hypocrisy of the society. And you see all these young people in thousands upon thousands came out into the streets protesting in front of the homes of President, in front of the home of Sonia Gandhi, in front of the home of Home Minister Sushil Kumar Shinde, and they are so angry. Keep women safe, safe, safe. All is well and good, but you can also see the hypocrisy. When the boy and when this girl was thrown out of the bus, none of the people stopped to help her. When she was bleeding, nobody, the pedestrians, the motorists, nobody stopped to help that lady. So you see the helplessness of the victim, the hardness of the perpetrators, then the hypocrisy of the society. That society that systematically abuses, and nobody even stopped to help her, but when it came after her death, after her rape, they all came to protest her. You see, that's the problem. As a community, when we can remain anonymous, we go into streets and protest. But when it comes to responsibility, at the moments of helping the neighbors, we simply do not do it. Oh, I might be called to be witness to the police office, or I might be called as a witness to your court. Oh, just I don't want that headache. But as a group, I can go and protest. So you see the hypocrisy of the society. As long as we are hypocrites, we are not going to change this. And the honor deaths. I mean, some of these girls raped, and their parents don't even file a complaint because their family's honor is more important than the pain and the horror the girl had suffered. So these are called honor murders. That happens too. The girls being killed because when they go out with a boy of another caste or another religion. If a girl is raped, the files are not even filed. You know, Zakir Naik says that Saudi Arabia is a great nation because there are not many rapes as many as in America. The problem, folks, in Saudi Arabia, to report a rape, you need 4 male witnesses. That is impossible. How can a girl produce 4 male witnesses? And Zakir Naik says, oh, that's why Saudi Arabia is great. No, that's statistical bias. So many horrific rapes are not even reported in India and Pakistan, Bangladesh and all these Asian countries because the honor of the family is involved. So the hypocrisy of the society. So the helplessness of the victim, the hardness of the perpetrators, the hypocrisy of the society, and then the hollowness of the government. Government gave a very hollow response. It's not really a sincere attempt to stop the rapes. It's not even a sincere attempt to the rape of this particular girl. Government wanted to stay stable, to save its face. All it did was to airlift this girl to Singapore. I mean, that's the embarrassment to so many Indian doctors like myself. I am an Indian doctor, and there are many smart Indian doctors right in that city, Delhi. There are world-class hospitals right there. Institutes like All India Institute of Medical Sciences, AIMS. It has world-class doctors, world-class facilities. There is PGI in Chandigarh. There is Christian Medical College in Vellore. There are world-class hospitals all over India with eminent doctors. But to their embarrassment, the Indian government airlifted this girl to Singapore. So a hollow response to the incident. So those are my thoughts, but as you know, I always tell you something, the root cause. I always tell you the root cause. You see, unless our hearts are changed, there will be always this kind of violence in the world. I am preaching to myself and to you also at the same time. In our hearts there is evil, and Jesus wants to change the evil in our own hearts. That needs to be changed. If your heart is changed into the image of God, you are not going to abuse any woman. In Matthew chapter 5 verse 28, Jesus said a very powerful word. Let me say, but I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her, hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. So Jesus is saying, the moment you look at a woman lustfully, you have already committed adultery. He is saying, don't even look lustfully. You see, Jesus called us to a very high standards, and we need to remember that. He called humanity to very high standards. Forget about verbally abusing women. Forget about sexually attacking, physically attacking women. Jesus said, don't even look lustfully. Don't even think violence in your own hearts. So, on the top of the helplessness of the victim, the hardness of the perpetrators, the hypocrisy of the society, the hollowness of the government, there is hope in Jesus. Because Jesus is asking us to change our hearts. Now, lot of young people around the world, and a lot of people are angry, and some people are saying, oh, come out and hang these rapists and stone them, behead them, all kinds of things for these people. But you see, those kinds of punishments are not going to stop these murders and rapes. What going to stop those murders and rapes is when our hearts are changed. When we get rid of those violence and rape and murder, those kinds of thoughts from our minds and hearts by the word of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So those are the thoughts I wanted to tell you. As usual, a lot of people start commenting. I advise you to comment and criticize my comments as you wish, and we will have a discussion. Thank you very much. God bless you.